It's been 6 days since the fire tragedy at the Birch nightclub in Goa. It's been nearly 4 decades of my own association with the state, India's smallest state and certainly one of its most beautiful. Goans are amongst the most welcoming of people. They enjoy a very easy harmony amongst each other, amongst all religions, and a very laid back charm, which we call Susigado, the sweet life, that has always attracted millions of visitors here. But in my long association with Goa and the Goans, I can tell you that I have never seen Goans this angry, this united, and simply this fed up at the mutilation and destruction that represents Goa tourism today. I'm Padma. I drove around North Goa for Mojo story today and also spoke to a young prominent leader. Here's what I saw and heard. 100 kilometers of coastline, nearly 4,000 square kilometers of land. A state of high literacy, one of India's fastest growing and one with a high GDP. But all that came at a price that Goa is now beginning to pay. Birch is right next to the Arpora river's backwaters and perched precariously and illegally on a salt pan where construction is not allowed. A flimsy structure made largely of dry palm leaves. The devastating tragedy, which took at least 25 lives, mostly of bitter poor workers from faraway states in India, was a disaster just waiting to happen. Today, the club is sealed while the country waits for the culprits to be brought to the book. But Birch is just one example. Every inch of Goa, especially its northern belt, seems doomed to become yet another Manali, Mussoorie, Ooty, all those places which we, the visitors, loved and then destroyed. Everywhere you go, everywhere you look, there's construction galore. Goa's tourism seems to be booming and there's more and more people coming in. But the growth of tourism has not kept up in terms of responsibility and responsible tourism, ecologically friendly tourism. Many of Goa's water bodies are full of garbage and there is hardly any room to build. There are salt pans and paddy fields on either side of such narrow roads, and yet the construction goes on relentless, the building goes on relentlessly. Christmas in Goa is not the only thing affected by the fire. The state faces Zilla Parishad elections on December 20th and campaigning is in full swing, with the shocking tragedy at Birch being a key focus. I spoke to Gajanand Tilve, a social activist formerly with the BJP and now campaigning for the Congress ahead of the polls for a Zilla which oversees the heart of North Goa's tourist belt, including Arpora, where Birch is located. I asked him whether investors from outside Goa, like Birch's owners, are primarily to be blamed for corruption, violations and the decline of Goa.
Rather than calling it an investment from the non-Goans in Goa, I would call it an exploitation by non-Goans in Goa. I mean, it all started, people from across the country have been always looked upon Goa like a second home to them. But post-COVID, what happened was exploitation. Like, I would have understood if they had, called Goa to be their second home. But for them, this is just another business opportunity by exploiting our land. What is really happening right now is a very bad thing towards our people, from the locals, because we as Goans have started developing hatred towards non-Goans.
But surely it takes two hands to clap. Bribes, exemptions, turning a blind eye, much can be blamed on the Goans for sure, both authorities and private property sellers themselves. So surely Delhiites or those from elsewhere are not the only culprits?
Whom to blame about this? I mean, if you look at primarily, you will say that the locals, the Goans are selling their lands, but what is the government doing about it? I was always of an opinion that Goa should have special status. The way Himachal Pradesh has, the residents or citizens of Goa are the only ones who can buy land. And I am always of that opinion that this is a high time wherein we stop. There has to be a stop put on to these things. The government has to look into this. We are a very small state, and in Goa, if you look at our neighborhood, we know each other very well. There's a lot of differences in our culture, but always we have been together. And the people who are coming from other states to Goa don't understand our culture really. For them, Goa means parties, for them Goa means restaurants and everything, but actually what is happening right now is the support of the local MLAs and the political leaders who are elected by the people are completely supporting such investments which turn into exploitation on a later stage. If you go to places like Vagator today, I mean, I remember our old days and we used to go and sit there for a sunset. But today you see restaurants and clubs coming everywhere. There are properties which have completely destroyed the natural terrain what we had in the, not like very long, but even like last 2 to 3 years. I think this has to be stopped immediately. Secondly, what I was saying is there are too many departments involved. I mean, I understand people are investing in Goa from a business perspective, but they are also being exploited. I see the moment a government officer or MLA or the minister starts exploiting money from you, you will also go overboard to make it back. So it is a chain which needs to be cut down.
It's easy to blame incumbent governments, but Goa has not always been under the BJP, and it is not just businesses but also affluent Indians simply buying up land in Goa to build second, third homes here. Official corruption is rampant, yes, but why did ordinary Goans begin to sell their personal properties and lands to private buyers decades ago? Take the village of Assagaon, which is known as Little Delhi today.
We are very simple people, and a lot of people in Goa had land. They had a lot of land, ample land, especially you will know the bhatkars of Goa. And for them, when the people from other states started approaching them, their opinion in the earlier stage was they never wanted to sell their land. But there was so much of pressure. The stakes were so high. Like I remember the rates in Assagaon before COVID were hardly 15,000 to 18,000 per square meter. But today, if you look at Assagaon, there is nothing less than 1 lakh a square meter. A lot of properties in Goa are jointly owned. Like, you know, the families are joint families. Like we have 3 brothers, 4 brothers. And, you know, what happens is they approach each one individually. And 3 of them agree. Then there is a pressure between the families. And what amount they were being offered were very high. And being a Goan who has never seen so much of money in their life, you know, it is very obvious that a normal person who has grown up into a middle class family to fall for such things.
So what is the road ahead? What can Goans do to pull Goa out of this mess? Or is it too late since people and businesses have invested massively, even if many times illegally, in Goa? Can the clock be turned back?
I think we as Goans need to change our mindset. I think it is high time that we stand up for each other. Keeping the political differences aside, it is important that we believe that Goa is ours and nobody else can take over us. I mean, people should not be, you know, taken for a ride. The way the government is functioning, they are trying to show a different picture to the world, to the entire country, but end of the day, the people of Goa are suffering. I mean, it is very sad that so many people lost their lives, but as per the locals who are staying in Arpora, they are saying the number is much more higher. The people who are working there are from very poor background. I mean, they are from states like Orissa, Jharkhand and all. So I really feel pity for their families. I mean, it is a shameful thing that happened. We as Goans are, you know, at that point right now where we have to decide what is right and what is wrong for us.
And what can we from Delhi, from Mumbai, from Bengaluru, from elsewhere in India do to help repair the damage we have all jointly caused to Golden Goa?
Just because you buy a piece of land, that doesn't mean you own Goa.
Rampant illegal construction, violations of the Coastal Regulation Zone or the CRZ, mountains of garbage, drunken driving by tourists in rented cars and accidents galore. Entire villages acquired by the well-heeled from Delhi, Mumbai and other states. And a slow erosion of Goa's own customs, culture and traditions. As the sun goes down on day 6 of the Goa fire tragedy, we must ask ourselves, why do we want to turn every place we run away to into the very places that we ran away from? Will we learn this time and rescue all together, all of us in India, what is left of beautiful Golden Goa? Padma Rao for Mojo Story, from Goa.